Good morning, EMC family. Welcome to the beautiful and historic Christchurch Parish Church. We are in the parish of Christchurch this morning. That goes without saying. And we're sitting at the entrance of the graveyard with the birds singing, and there's a peace and serenity in here this morning as Nick and I visit loved ones before we started. And it really is a peaceful, and I think one of the biggest graveyards. You know, you don't realize it every time you come here for a funeral, you don't realize, but it is one of the biggest on the island that is attached to a church, because we all know Westbury is huge, but I think this is one of the biggest attached to a church. So in memory of all those who have died here, let us say a prayer for peace and centering. I am so enjoying the serenity prayer every time I say it during the day, so please join me as I say, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Your will, not mine, be done. Amen. And so sorry about that. The words just failed me there this morning. But it really is so beautiful in here this morning. Our docile crew is with us. We kind of started a little late this morning, so we're sorry about that. But this is a beautiful, beautiful sight. Of course, this is not the first home for Christchurch Parish Church. This is its second home. The first home, the remnants of it, is down by Dover Beach, on that stretch that is the back of Sandals. As you head down that road, we did a blog from there one morning early when Ray was here. We started at that point, and Christchurch Parish Church was down by Dover, and it was erected down there in 1629, and in 1668 there was a flood that destroyed the church, washed the church out into the sea. But if you go there, you can see tombs are still there and parts of the wall that show the structure of where the church was. This site was chosen because it was less exposure to the sea, but they didn't think about the high winds, because now this whole area is built up. If I walk in a bit, you will see that they're all homes around here. But when this church was built in 1780, none of this was here. So it was a clear path for anything coming. It was completely like just barren right here by itself. So this new church was built in 1780. Sorry, it was built in 1668. Sorry, just after the one was destroyed down by the sea, down by Dover. And this new church on this location was destroyed in the 1780 hurricane, rebuilt, destroyed again in the 1831 hurricane, rebuilt, and then destroyed by fire in 1935, and rebuilt in the same year. And some people like to say at Christchurch Parish Church looks like a little castle, because it has its own little arches at the top. Sadly, it needs a lot of work, and I'm sure the new rector, relatively new Father Mark Herwood, will do his best. He did a lot of work down at St. Barnabas and was able to restore St. Barnabas and do a lot for it. So I'm sure he's going to do the same thing here at Christchurch. But I'm going to tilt and show you how massive this structure is, how high it is, Yeah, and the windows and everything need work, but she's still an amazing beauty. And the birds are chirping very sweetly. Sky is beautiful too. Of course, we always have this fun with the gimbal. So, before I get into all the history, before we take our walk, let's meet up with our docile crew. And I hope everybody had a wonderful week. We had a wonderful Heroes Day here yesterday. It's a long weekend in Barbados. Then Monday we're off because it's May Day. So there'll be a lot of celebrations. The Barbados Workers Union is putting on a massive event on in the Botanical Garden. So that would be really lovely. We are also doing reggae weekend this weekend. So it's a lot going on in Barbados this weekend. So here's our docile crew. Morning, Mary and Kim.
What's her name? What's her name?
Huh?
What's her name? This one here?
Kim?
No, this one here.
This is sweet Cheryl.
Sweet
Cheryl. This is sweet Cheryl.
Oh, okay.
Nicholas. We all know Nicholas. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
And the lovely Caroline is here with us. I got that right?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Yes, I know I always change my symbols. Yes.
He was there pointing out what's her name.
Yes.
Sweet Cheryl, really.
Yes.
Caroline.
Yes. So this graveyard is just full of law and heritage. This gentleman here, 𝗃𝗵𝗿𝗲, that's a beautiful grave in his honor, and he would have been the one who owned 𝗃𝗵𝗿𝗲's funeral home. Yes. But as we walk through here, a lot of prominent Bajan names are here, and we're gonna show you one of the most famous graves of this church, and it's called the Chase Vault. So the Chase Vault, it's a seal vault, was a seal vault, and it was opened on 4 occasions between 1812 and 1820. And each time they opened it, the lead coffins were found in great confusion and disarray. And of course, Bajans love the folklore of the Chase Vault. But the mystery of the Chase Vault started on August 9th, 1812, when the vault was opened to intern the body of Colonel Thomas Chase, a wealthy landowner. The coffins were found to be scattered from their original locations. Everybody was put back where they found them. 4 years later, the vault was opened again, and the coffins were scattered. So, here is the Chase Vault. And I'm not going down inside. So, I will drop my hand so you can see the crest of the Chases. And on either side, these metal casings, they would have had the names of the persons interned here. And then when you walk all the way down, that was like kind of inside the vault itself. So 4 years later, when they opened the vault, guess what? Everybody is scattered again. All about the place. Nobody is where they left them. And what they did was put the person they were interning at that point in time, put everybody back in place, shut the vault down. A year later they came back, opened the vault, same thing again. Everybody scattered all about, people, coffins standing, coffins nowhere where they put them. So they decided to do an inspection of the vault, realizing there was no alternative entrances or secret ways. And as you can see from the vault, there really is no other place to get in. And of course, in those days, this wall would have been here as well. But there's no other way to get into the vault except down these steps and into the vault itself. So what they decided to do, no, I'm not going down inside.
The gate's open if you want.
No, that's all right. That's quite all right.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a respect for these things, a deep respect. So in 1819, the governor of Barbados, and I'll tell you who the governor was at the time, oversaw the burial of the person who was being put in at that time and affixed his seal to the concrete ceiling of the entrance. A year later, when another burial was done, the seal was still intact. The coffins were found to be scattered again. So the family and the authorities decided it was time to remove the coffins from the vault and bury them separately. So the governor at the time was a man called 𝗃𝗍𝗘 𝗏𝗃𝗀, the first Viscount of 𝗃𝗵𝗶𝗀, Lord 𝗃𝗵𝗶𝗀. Does that ring a bell to all those who have walked the hollow walls of Waterford University? So he was the governor at the time of that prestigious school, and he was the person who put his seal on the grave, on the vault, so that no one could come in. And so, you know, they were removed. Now, scientists believe that there is an underground stream, there's seismic activity of the ground that causes that, because in those days you didn't embalm bodies like how we do today. You would just be buried within 24 hours after your death, or 24 to 48 hours. But most burial certificates of the time, you will see that the person died on Monday and by Tuesday they were buried. And so there was no embalming. So they believe that the releasing of gases from the body, the lead, the conditions of this particular vault, all led to... No, Nicole is not going in. And Nick is being wicked and trying to encourage everybody to make me go in the vault. But you have to understand, I respect these things, and I am not going anywhere near inside the vault. But they thought that it was more, scientists believe that there's reasons to explain, but Bajans have so enjoyed the folklore of the Chase Vault that they have believed that there is there is hocus pocus and all of that going. So no, Nicole is not going. But persons have come here and taken away pieces of the grave as mementos and things like that. I have a different feeling on things like that. I think that this once was a place of reverence for loved ones who had passed and should be kept intact. I would like to see the church do a cleanup of this grave, you know, and mark it and clean up the emblem of the grave and all of that, and fix back these poles and things like that, so that, you know, it be, you know, because it is almost a historic landmark for Christchurch Parish Church, and people come here hearing the story of the supernatural of it and want to explore that. So I think that this needs to be kind of repaired and fixed up so that, you know, persons can come and see. So, and also in this churchyard, we were looking at this grave earlier, and this gentleman, Gardner, he was born in the USA, died in Port of Spain in Trinidad, and was buried here. And he seems to be a pioneer in the development of Bermuda's asphalt in Trinidad. But we just thought, what a magnificent final resting place that his wife put here, because you can see at the top it says, "To my husband," and this is so beautiful. And I think that this is where, you know, a lot of the churches now need assistance in the upkeep of the graveyard, because there's so much history in the graveyards. For families who are doing genealogy research, they can come and see the actual graves, and then it takes away this stigma of being inside the graveyard, because people kind of don't like it. But I think once they're kept beautifully, they become a place of, you know, coming and having respectful interaction with the graveyard. This one we saw, because of the size of the grave, let me just drop my hand. This is obviously a child's grave. And his name was Douglas Spencer Nate. And he was born on the 31st of August and died on December 6, 1925. So I must have been so heart-rending for his parents. But you can see from the size of the grave that, you know, he was a child. And then this beautiful grave here is the grave of our third Prime Minister, 𝗲𝗷𝗔𝗦𝗘 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲, as Bajans used to call him, Bree. And he is our shortest serving Prime Minister from 1985 to 1986. And that was due to the fact that just as what happened was Tom Adams passed away, and Sir Arnold Bernard St. John became Prime Minister of Barbados, and we were at that point of calling elections, and he called elections, and I remember that his catch was that he was giving us 10,000 reverse tax credit or something like that. That was his catch, and Barrow upped him one and did 15,000, and that was what won Barrow the government. And of course, Errol won the government. They won the government in 1986, and sadly by the 1st of June 1987 he collapsed and died. But they always said that Sir Harold was really a gentleman politician. He was not a rogue. He would not try to back raise, or, you know, he believed in handling things in a gentleman way. And although people thought he would have been really a fantastic Prime Minister, sadly he only did it for 1 year. But he has gone down in history as being a true gentleman politician, a man of his word and what he stood for. And this is his final resting place. His beloved wife Stella St. John is one of the founders of the Oistins Festival, and they still live in this Miami Beach area. She still lives in the Miami Beach area, and so we're looking at the other side of Christchurch. And so their family has made a lasting contribution to the landscape of Barbados. So Nick is coming to see if he can get me go though. Oh, okay. So we're gonna do a 20-second photo op right here, because look at that, how that tree is in bloom, and it's so beautiful against the backdrop of the church.
A photo op is done in silence.
Oh really? I don't remember that part. Well, I'm changing the rules today. So
She's changing the rules.
yes, I'm changing it up. But it is so beautiful in here. It is. So
That's why Rebecca's always usually
yeah, so this is why we really need to help the churches donate to their, you know, when you have a funeral, persons come, they don't want to give, when they do a funeral collection, they go, why are they doing a funeral collection? But funeral collections truly help with the upkeep and the maintenance of the churchyards. Because just think, if a lot of these things were restored, if these pathways were easy to walk, not just for persons who come here to lay flowers or remember loved ones or to research stuff, but families who are now coming to bury their loved ones, you know, all of that is part of the church. So when we can get these churchyards up to, you know, a bit more pleasing and aesthetic to the eye, it would be wonderful. And as you can see, the closer, just the same way when we went in St. Michael's Cathedral churchyard, the closer your grave was to the church was the more prominent you were. And in some cases, some people are buried within the walls of the church and all of that. Their tombs are close to the walls because all of this represented your prominence within the community at the time. So how close that one is like right next to the door. And I don't even think at St. Michael's Cathedral, we've seen one that close. But you have to remember that Christchurch Parish Church, like St. George's Parish Church, this is where majority of the plantocracy was, and all these lands around here were very, very fertile, and that, you know, made the difference to the economy of the country at the given point in time. This lovely building, the 𝗂𝗏𝗔𝗏𝗏 Resource Center, actually the current rector here, this is his father, and this is now where the Bishop of Barbados and the Anglican Diocese have their office, but they also have a very beautiful resource center that people can rent for different occasions, and it's also great for training and all that. So this was put down, I would say, within the last 10 years or so, as another income stream for the Anglican Church, because they have to kind of find a way to diversify how, you know, people, before people plantation owners and prominent people would almost give a monthly subscription to the church to help maintain the church. Of course, those things have changed, and so the Anglican Church has to diversify and find ways to keep everything going. And so a lot of them have put down centers, and this one is done in the memory. It was done when he was alive, and he has passed away within the last 2 or 3 years. So this is now in memory of the late 𝗂𝗏𝗔𝗏𝗏. And 𝗂𝗏𝗔𝗏𝗏 was a very wonderful man. If you've ever met him, you kind of felt blessed and touched afterwards. So we are walking. I'm just making sure my tour guide is to my left, although he is silent.
Behind.
You're behind?
Yeah, now you make the wrong turn. Body touch. Wellness center.
Yes, yes. The Christchurch Parish Church. Okay. Yes. And you see, this is what I was talking about. I hope everybody saw that picture that I put up, that the old eye hospital is being renovated, and I keep hoping that they'll do the same thing for the old hospital. But here, I think the Christchurch Boys School started in this location, in this building, and now it's being used as a wellness center. And that's what we need to do. We need not tear down these buildings, because they're made with soft stone. And if you've ever been in a home with soft stone, yes, I know the maintenance is high of it, and it's not like concrete thing, but when you put down a building with soft stone, it really takes a massive hurricane to move it, and the care and maintenance and things can be regenerated and used in a different way. I really don't like this idea of pushing everything down and putting something else up.
I'll come in for you, Nicole. Don't worry about it.
So,
I'll come in.
because like last week when we went to the Lazaretto, there was a chapel down there that they used for the last services for persons who died in that area, and that chapel sadly was taken down by the University of West Indies. So I hope that they will give that, yeah, some consideration to putting back up that chapel. Oh,
Doggy dogs.
wow, the dogs look serious.
How
Look
y'all
at
doing?
that. Oistins house. That almost looks like if it was some other building in its day. Fellas look serious. Oh, we're crossing the
Yeah,
road?
we cross the road, yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry if any cars are coming, Nicole. They'll stop for you.
Yeah, once they see me. So before we go down these beautiful steps into the heart of Charlestown, so we'll see how smart you guys are. And we're going to the Christchurch Foundation School. And a minute book found on the 10th of July, no, a minute book found at a committee management meeting in 1825 said that the cornerstone of this church, this school, was laid on the 10th of July 1809. And sadly, like the 1831 hurricane that did a lot of damage to Christchurch Parish Church also did damage to Christchurch Foundation. And Bishop Coleridge was the person who thought that in the 1840s when he was here, that the schools should be separated into boys and girls. I have had a lot of friends and cousins who have gone to Foundation and enjoyed it, but for me, a beloved aunt, Ruby St. John, was deputy headmistress here for many years, and she loved Foundation with all her heart and soul. And once she became a teacher here, she taught English, she taught home ec. Once she became a teacher, she left, she retired from Foundation, and for years afterwards she would find ways to help the school and still be part of it. So in her memory this morning, this walk is part of in her memory to the wonderful Foundation school that she loves so much, that raised so many wonderful people who have walked through their walls and have enjoyed their education, and those persons are making valuable contributions to the country. We salute you. So now we move on to Charlestown, and believe it or not, that's what Oistins was called before it got its new name, but it was called Charlestown, of course, because at the time of the settlement of Barbados, King Charles was on the throne, so we called it Charlestown. And so we're gonna take these steps down.
Here we go. Are you ready, Nicole?
Yeah, we're ready.
What goes down must do what? Come back up.
Come back up.
Okay.
I have faith though that when we go down these steps, everybody, that Nick will
got a taxi on reserve.
Nick got a taxi. I was just thinking, just watch the steps because they have cracks in them. But I have faith that Nick is going to get the van and he's going to come down for us, and we'll all get on the back of the war wagon and come back up for our cars.
You misplaced your faith.
So we're taking our time coming down these steps. We're coming into a little area.
So I've been at the bottom ever since.
I know, but you walk. We're doing a docile walk. We're not doing a sprint.
Did you greet our co-star this morning?
No, I didn't.
What?
Miss J, she's in?
Yeah, she's on there, yeah.
Okay. Morning, Miss J. We miss you. We miss you. I won't tell you the amount of lies he told about you this morning.
What?
Listen, when you come back, Miss Janet, we are going out for drinks. Just me, you, and Cheryl. We have to.
We call her Janet.
Jeanette. Oh, God. You know, when Nicholas is around, all sorts of things happen. It's not my fault. It's all Nicholas's fault. He gives me such a hard time on Friday, and I do try my best on Saturdays. And, oh, he's never easy on me. So, everybody kind of pray for me where Nicholas Dean is concerned. But this area that we're walking through is called Scarborough. It's a little village leading, and these steps are really lovely because it's a shortcut for the locals, because Oistins Hill is steep, and I think if we had to walk down Oistins Hill and walk back up, it would be too much, whereas these steps are just lovely. And as usual, we're in an area where Bajans take care of their homes. Look at that. That's so beautiful. It's so cute. Everybody has their home painted up. I look around. See that little one there and this little one. Yeah, I'm into little homes lately. I've been watching Tiny Nations on YouTube, and I think it's so fascinating to watch how people reduce their footprint and have these cute little homes, but everything's still involved. Good morning, morning, morning. So it's so beautiful. So a little bit about Charlestown. In January 1652, at the Mermaid Tavern, the commissioners appointed by Sir George Annis, the man sent by Oliver Cromwell to handle the bad behavior of the colonists, along with the defeated Governor Lord Willoughby, and they signed the Charter of Barbados. So the Charter of Barbados got signed in a rum shop. Imagine that. And hence why we always love to have a rum shop. And again, sorry to do this, to break, but look at this. This is a lovely little home here. This is a cute little fixer-upper. And I think that I just so love the idea of smaller homes, you know. But that one time was somebody's pride and joy, and hopefully it can be somebody else's pride and joy. So the Charter of Barbados guaranteed Barbadian colonists the right to their lands, local control of taxation, liberty of conscience, traditional overseers of the courts of law, and freedom to trade with nations which were friendly with England, providing that the colonists submitted to the government of England. So Cromwell wanted to be in charge, and so hence why the Charter of Barbados was written. Oh, pomegranates! Look at that.
No, she's in deep history.
Yes, isn't that beautiful? Yes. It's lovely.
Has a red, a white, and white.
Someone's saying that they're close to us. Well, we are heading towards the law courts and where the old fort would be. So if you want to catch us there, you might be able to catch us there. But it's Saturday morning. Yes. And we're being noisy, but people are still sleeping in. And here's another lovely pomegranate tree. Yeah. And I just love how all these little houses, everybody is taking pride and taking care of their homes. Bajans really do love their home and their space, and they make sure that they fix everything up and, you know, and enjoy their living space. So, like I said, the Charter of Barbados was signed in a rum shop. So that was, you know, and I think that from there, hence why we have all these traditions. If you go through Barbados, we have so many English names of places that at one stage we were called Little England. And we have also held on to a lot of traditions for as long as we can possibly could, because our young people don't feel the same way about it now. And but it is a true reflection of us being colonized by England, and really never having, where other Caribbean islands had France take over or Spain take over at a point in time, and then England fought and got back the country. Barbados has been unique in that we have always been owned by England, and so our traditions are very steep in that. We're very to the left. No? If we went through, there, we would. Yeah? The police won't lock us up?
Public walk over there, but going through there is a lot more fun.
Okay. So we are busy Oistins.
You really have to block this zebra crossing.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't have to block this zebra crossing, but thanks very much for blocking traffic.
And the thing about Oistins is like a street village. It's one street that makes up Oistins, running from north to south, whereas Bridgetown has a lot of tributaries. Spicetown tends to have a lot of tributaries off of it. Porttown is one solid street, so is Oistins. And so we're here at the magistrate court, the police station, public library. There's also the licensing authorities in this area, and you can see that this is the beautiful home that was here at the time. I love and wonderfully that they've kept it and incorporated a bit of the modern with it. Of course, it would be wonderful to see them repair it, because it means that because these windows are closed and I can see that there are bricks behind the shutters, it means that nobody's using this building. So yeah, that's what I was here thinking. Yes, because it's such a beautiful building, and it's an older building, so yeah. Mary and I feel passionate about these buildings being restored because there's so much beautiful history in these buildings. Yeah, lovely shutters too. And here too, this building sadly that had a fire was where the Barbados License Authority was. And that is now also in disrepair and ruin. And so, you know, instead of building new buildings, these buildings need to be restored. Because look at the structure of that. So, on this area was the Oistins Fort. And the fort that was at Oistins was the largest in the Windward Islands. And it was constructed in the 17th century, and it boasted of having 35 guns. And 35 guns is a lot of guns for a fort to have. But it needed to be fortified because, as I was explaining earlier, other Caribbean islands were being invaded, and this was a way to stop the invasion of Barbados. The hurricane of 1831, yes, did lots of damage, and that hurricane also damaged this fort, and so a lot of the guns got swept out to the sea. I'm trying to get as close to the water as possible because I do believe at low tide, and sometimes you can still see some of the cannons are still in the water, just like how we saw at Hilton. The same thing has happened here. Oh, I see where the old structure is, so let me go a little further. But as you can look here, where you can see that old formation of bricks, all of that would have been part of the fort, and the fort then was used for the old almshouse. And then when they had that, they also used it for foundation school at one time and to hold church as the years went on. Yeah. So if we go around, yeah, this was the district hospital, which was part of the old fort as well. All of this, because I was just going to get a little further down so the others can see, everyone can see the bricks. So right, so we're kind of showing you. So this whole area, because I do remember as a little girl, which was yesterday, the house being here. I had an aunt who worked in that it was an house at first, and then it became the district hospital. And I remember her working in that district hospital and taking care of others. Yeah, so I wanted you to see the remains of the fort, and this fort was in place up to the 1940s. But you see, this will show you right here the rock form, the foundations, and you see how far it went out, which meant that you see how much the sea has reclaimed in this area. Good morning. So look at that. And that is part of the old wall of the old fort. and which eventually became the district hospital as well. So lying in these waters are some of the cannons. And of course, we are now in beautiful Oistins. And we've come from up on the hill. Huh? Right, because I was saying that the cannons are below, but I suppose you need, the water is a little murky from all the sargassum. Ah, yes, look the cannons. Oh, I love it. So those cannons, all the way down, yes, those cannons have been there since 1831 when the hurricane destroyed the fort, and we lost because there was like 35 of them, and these are some left behind. You imagine that? And can you imagine them roaring and defending this area of Barbados? And of course, once the Charter of Barbados was signed, they changed the name from Charlestown to Oistins and it was really Oistins because it's O-I-S-T-I-N-E. That was there were two brothers who owned the area, owned this area, 67 acres they had of this whole area, and it was, their last name was Oistins, O-I-S-T-I-N-E, and of course over the years it's been changed to Oistins. So that's how Oistins got its name, and that happened after the Charter of Barbados, where they removed Charlestown and they called it Oistins. But isn't it so beautiful? The boats are out. Mary is in her element. The sargassum is there, but we're not seeing it because the water has a murky, darkish color. Persons are still enjoying their sea bath at Miami Beach. And it is so beautiful here this morning. Yeah, yeah, it is a beautiful coastline. Yes, and of course we know Bay Garden and Oistins on a Friday night, but this is what it looks like on a Saturday morning with lovely Bajans getting ready for work and getting ready to start their weekend, because everything will be open today and some things will be open tomorrow, but Monday is a bank holiday. It's May Day, as I said. And so the Barbados Workers Union celebrates May Day by having a big party jamboree in in Botanical Gardens. The Botanical Gardens are opposite the National Stadium. So that will be a fun full day. And like I said again, we also have the reggae festival going on. So last night it was vintage reggae with Maxi Priest and guys from that era. I think tonight is another set of performances, and then they finish with reggae on the hill on Sunday. So you know, the picnic coolers, the drinks, everything. So today you're going to see Bajans out and about having a mad scramble trying to get everything done. Sunday, Nick has a surprise docile Sunday walkabout for you, so I'll leave that teaser for him. And then Monday we will start all over again. He'll be out walking and enjoying himself and making fun of me and Cheryl and Jeanette and everybody else. And sad to say, but this is Kim's last Saturday with us.
Yay!
Kim is going back home to Boston. Yes.
Clapping because I'm leaving?
Huh?
Did he clap because I'm going?
Yeah, he's clapping because you're going. Yeah, Kim is going to visit Boston. She said, yes, because she considers herself a true Bajan now, so she's gonna be.
I'll be back.
She'll be back soon.
I actually moved you in that angle so that I can show Kim's beauty.
He's got to get in on everything.
Dear Lord.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He can't let me have my moment.
Always on my mind.
Oh my gosh! and Simone is back home.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so
Hey, Sam.
yes.
That's great, great.
And so the 𝗃𝗟𝗘 crew will drop
Oh, no.
unless you are on the island and you could come and visit us. That would be great. And of course, let Chef Nick, Chef. Thank you, Chef Nick, because I have to make sure that
Okay.
when I do this
There you go.
and I say good morning to you guys, I have the most beautiful scenery behind me. So look at that. Isn't that amazing? That is so amazing. Nicholas.
said beautiful.
Yes, I know you said beautiful.
You call us.
Yes.
Circle.
Yeah, you want to do a circle of love?
Circle of love.
Oh yeah, circle of love.
Circle of love.
Because you're seeing me. Me
of
and
love.
only me. How you want to see anybody else? So Nicholas can keep walking about behind, but everybody else is, yeah? Yeah? So I'll let you see them. There they are. Yeah? There's enough of them. There's more of me.
It's you, yeah. Don't get you.
Us and this beautiful, beautiful beach behind us, this lovely ocean. Oh, it's been a joy. I hope you enjoyed it this morning as much. Yes, I know, my beautiful Nicole and the team. I love that. Whoever said that, I really love that. Yes.
Junior.
Ah, Nicholas Jr. Cheryl's calling me Nicholas Jr. You imagine?
Nick and Nick.
So, I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. I'm sure we're gonna go in the sea, and then we have to take that walk back up the hill to our cars. So I'm hoping that we can talk Nicholas into bringing the war wagon down. We most probably will talk and enjoy it all the way there. So, from the beautiful Charlestown, because I love the name Charlestown. Yeah. So from the beautiful Charlestown Oistins Foundation, Christchurch Parish Church, the Chase Vault, and the Prime Minister, our third Prime Minister, Sir 𝗃𝗷𝗶𝗀 St. John. I hope you enjoyed our Oistins docile walk this morning. And as I leave you with this beautiful view, enjoy your lives. Thank God that you're here for another day. Make the most of that day. Whenever you see someone, smile, give encouragement. You never know. A smile could bring a lot to anybody who may be having a bad day, and they're so happy when you look at them and smile. Like I said, a smile does a lot. So from me to you guys, have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. Let's see how well trained they are. Say goodbye, everybody. Bye. Oh gosh, you see how well trained they are? They're just so well trained. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody.